live in an area of outstanding natural beauty, and our countryside is our greatest resource. Our communities have a long and prosperous history. We want to keep it that way. Our villages are under threat as local people are forced out of the area due to the lack of affordable housing. Since much of the old council housing stock has been sold under the Right to Buy scheme, many communities have been left with little or even no affordable housing for their young people seeking a home of their own. The result can be devastating for some areas, where there are no longer enough children to keep the school open, or enough people to support the village shop or the local pub. If we want our villages to be vibrant, sustainable and self-supporting, with a range of local services and amenities, then clearly we must help keep our young people and key workers in the communities they call home. Like many people in Rother district, Broad Oak fireman Gareth Oliver is struggling to get on the housing ladder.
I've lived in the village now for 31 years. So I was brought up in Broad Oak, attended the local school. A bit frustrated really because I can't actually afford to buy my own property here. I know majority of the people in the village, so like neighbours are all friendly. My parents live in the village and my wife's parents live in the next village, Beckley. I'd really hate to move away because we do have that family network, support. Grandparents make ideal babysitters at short notice, so to be away from that, I think might make life a lot harder. During the day I work for the Environment Agency as a team leader for the operational workforce. In the evenings and the weekends I work for the East Sussex Fire and Rescue Service as a firefighter. I worked out, my wages around here for just nowhere available. I'm at the moment I privately rent. It's not ideal. I'd like just get on the housing ladder and be able to have my own property. It's getting increasingly difficult to actually get a mortgage and deposits required. I guess there's many people in the village who are like me or have had to move out of the village. Several people here at the fire station who are either still living with parents or privately renting. I've got other friends who have had to move out because they can't afford to actually stay out here. Eventually, I guess, if I really do want to get on the house market, I will have to move away from the village. There's a small percentage of children here. Most people now are retired, but there's no young age group, if you know what I mean. But I think it's important for a community to have a broad range of people across its society. And it is difficult for young people as myself to get on the market. We can offer stuff to the community, and I want my children to have the same sort of quality of upbringing as I've had. Every village needs a structure to it. Without young people in the village, with young children, that village is dead, isn't it? And I'd hate to see Broad Oak become stagnant because young people can't afford to live here.
For many villages throughout Rother, the solution is remarkably simple, where just a handful of well-designed affordable houses that remain in perpetuity for local people would make all the difference.
If I was to enter in the shared ownership scheme, get me set off on the right foot, it would provide greater stability for me and my family, security. Over a certain number of years I'll then have money put into a property. I could then use that as a deposit somewhere else if I want to move out, and that house would then offer a benefit to somebody else locally. So I think it's a great idea.
By using the planning system, it is possible to build small-scale affordable housing developments just outside or on the edge of a village's settlement planning boundary. Such developments are known as exception sites, as they are exceptions to the planning rules, and they benefit from cheaper land values to make them financially viable, as the land does not attract the huge prices of open market land. They are specifically for local people who cannot afford open market housing. People like woodsman Al Ball, whose family have lived in Udimore for 4 generations.
I'm 40 years old, born and bred in this village. Udimore's my home, forest is my job. Hopefully my children will carry on doing similar work, and it'll be a trade that's not forgotten in the future. I don't think I could face not living here. I always say to my wife, if I can't live in Udimore, in the Tillingham or the Brede Valley, I don't really want to live anywhere around here. I would move away. Well, currently I live in a rented cottage with my wife and 3 children. I'm happy where I live. I've got no complaints. However, there's always this worry when you're renting a house. It's never your own. You can never think, I'd like to put an extension on or something like that, because you can't, because it's not yours. It's an unstable future from that point of view. So many people have moved into the area now. Most of the people who've moved in have come from London or surrounding towns. I mean, it's unfair to say some of the newcomers don't get involved, because there's some great people that join in and get things happening. But it doesn't take away the fact that there's nothing for us to buy for ourselves, which is a shame. Oh, can't afford the houses, can't even begin to. After the crash, you can't even begin to consider it. In times past, there was a lot of agriculturally tied property, but the agriculturally tied properties just aren't there anymore. They simply are not there. They've gone and they've been turned into ordinary houses, and of course the property price goes straight up, and again it's unaffordable. You're going to be in danger of losing your local key workers in the countryside. You can't go and get a job on a farm earning minimum wage and then expect to get a mortgage. It's simply ludicrous to even think you could. Now, to keep those people who need to be working the land in the community, you need to house them. If we were allowed to build houses on a greenfield site, that would be the ideal thing. We're not talking about a huge development, you're just talking about an attractive site. I mean, it's important that people stay in the village. If a few small houses were built for local people, it would be better for everyone in the community. It would keep people working in the countryside. It'd make the community far more vibrant and maintain the demographics of the village.
Protecting village life is at the heart of every exception scheme. But for a planning application to be successful, there must be majority support within the village. This is often hard to come by. Despite initial opposition, in neighbouring Lewis district, one exception scheme is welcoming its first few families. And it's thanks to the rural housing scheme that Barkham nurse Debbie Knott and her husband can raise their children in the same village they grew up in.
Barkham's just a really lovely place. You know, all our family are within walking distance from us, grandparents, parents, aunts, you know, and it's lovely. There was lots of people locally that didn't want this development to happen, and my husband and I were really for it, so it was a bit of a battle for a while. We just knew that if this didn't happen, we would have to move out of the area. I wanted the kids to be here, so for us it was just so important. And I think it's a great scheme, you know, for the future. It's really necessary in a village like this, I think. It has got quieter over the years. You know, we've got a really lovely school in Barkham. The intake have gone down quite a lot in the last few years. We've got a lot of clubs, and they need new people, they need new blood. Obviously it's important for all the businesses as well in the village, you know, the local shop and especially the pub. It's important for the people that have grown up here, that want to stay close. You know, it gives us the opportunity to do that. I mean, the week I was waiting to find out was just horrendous. I turned 30 the same week, and I think they told me on my 30th birthday, and it was just amazing. Lots of people in the village have popped down and just sort of said, oh, can we have a look round? You know, we've been watching them being built. And lots of people have said to me that the attention to detail has been brilliant here, and the standard of housing is great, you know. It's all local people. It's friends that my husband and I grew up with, went to school with, our children go to school with. So it's a real lovely sense of community, and we know everybody, you know, so it's really nice. I think it's had a huge impact on Barkham. It's given opportunity to lots of people that wouldn't necessarily be able to stay here because of the cost of housing. Lots of people are really, you know, really pleased with how it's worked out. I think there was a lot of negative response in the beginning, but I think now people can see it and they see who's in the houses, and that the local connection was made, you know, and I think people are really, really positive. Really lucky to live somewhere like this. I keep describing it to all my friends as I feel like I'm on holiday. It's like we've rented some nice holiday cottage somewhere, you know, with all the children about and they're all playing all the time, and I keep waking up every morning and sort of waiting for somebody to say we've got to go home today.
There's little doubt that affordable housing has had a positive impact on Barkham by giving local people the chance to stay local. With community support for similar rural housing schemes, it is possible that you can prevent the decline of our villages, protecting their unique charm and giving hope to hard-working people like Al and Gareth.